A very good afternoon to you and welcome to Just Africa, where we explore transformative ideas, bold innovations, and impactful solutions shaping the continent's future. Today, we focus on what some experts are calling the new gold, Africa's indigenous crops that are emerging as silent powerhouses in the fight for food security as climate change, population growth, and global supply chains shock threaten food systems worldwide. Africa's ancient crops are from Fonio to Bambara nuts, Sorghum, Amaranatha. Those names are names of crops, but it sounds like names of places, and they are making all a comeback. But this isn't just about tradition. It's about innovation, sustainability, and economic opportunity. Welcome once again to the program in Just Africa. My name is Oyin Priye Kromale. Remember, I'm not doing this alone today. I was absent in the program yesterday. Here he is beside me. Hello, Olumide.
How are you doing, Priye?
Great.
Welcome to Just Africa. I am Olumide Shokoye. I remember your favorites, cola nuts.
Bitter cola.
Bitter cola.
Yes.
And I used to watch you eat it every day. And I remember I asked you and you told me it's actually medicinal.
Yes.
So, I mean, but why are we not tapping into that?
Oh, okay. For bitter cola, I started eating it because I needed my voice to be in shape. I started eating it because some people use it as caffeine to stay awake, probably when reading at night, but that's not what actually drove me to eating it. I ate it for the health of my voice. And whilst I kept doing that, I was told by some other person that it has over 100 medicinal values.
Yes.
And you can never have enough of it. That even if you eat 100 of it a day, there's no side effect. Well, I took that with a pinch of salt because it's not a medical expert.
Yes.
However, I used to eat a lot of it, and it was quite cheap some few years ago until the not too long recently we've seen that one that you used to get for 20 naira, 15 naira before now cost 200 naira, just one. And while in my interaction with some of the market women that sells, I was specifically told that foreigners discovered, or they know that it has strong industrial value. And we do not have those industries here in Nigeria. So those foreigners jumped into the country, went straight to the farms to buy them in bulk and took them away. And they've established that chain of transfer of exporting the bitter cola. So that is why it's quite expensive locally, that you can even purchase just one seed of bitter cola for 200 naira.
Which brings me to our topic, the new gold. Now, from your explanation, foreigners discovered our own new gold and took it. So, in as much as, yes, what is the new gold? Something that has probably been undervalued, but now through research and some other technological advancement, it is discovered that it has some economic value. It becomes the new gold. Just like we used to say tech is the new gold. Now we have African crops. And these crops, surprisingly, are consumed in a normal home.
Yes.
In a nuclear family, they are so much of vegetables and all that are consumed in but we do not know the economic value. If we start to export this, if we start developing manufacturing, large manufacturing industry to process these crops into, Then I also took a bit of research, and I found out that about 15 to 35% of the GDP across most African countries is derived from indigenous crops.
Yes.
I mean, sorghum, millet, and the rest of them, they contribute a whole lot. And so, now, how do we begin to process? How do we begin to, not just, yes, we export, but that's why I always talk about 100% export, because if you export just cola nuts, the bitter cola, it goes into another country, they refine it, produce it, and sell it back to us probably as drugs and all that. Wow. So we've lost a whole lot there. Instead of it being produced here locally, which will create jobs. job creation, to bring about development to that particular area. Because when an industry moves to a particular community, it develops that part of its CSR. It develops that particular, it creates jobs. It adds to the GDP because, yes, the money is retained in the economy. So there's a whole lot to be untapped gold. That's what I see it as, untapped gold.
Great. So that question my colleague Olumide just asked is going to be answered by our guest who will be joining us on the program. So what does the new gold mean in this context? In this context, the new gold refers to the immense, often undervalued economic and nutritional value of African indigenous crops, which are increasingly being recognized as key to achieving food security, building resilience, agricultural system, and unlocking the business opportunities across the agri-tech and agro-processing value chain. These crops, long sidelined in favor of foreign staples like wheat and rice, and drought-resistant, nutrient-rich, and environmental adaptive, making them central to Africa's sustainable agricultural future. We have a prominent guest who's standing by to join us on the program. We're going to break. When we return, we will be introducing him to you. It's Just Africa, and we are reaching you live from our studios at Souq News Television. Stay with us. Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program to unpack this fascinating intersection of agriculture, technology, and business. We are joined by an industry visionary and agropreneur, Okpeyemi Adeyanju. Okpeyemi Adeyanju is a dynamic serial entrepreneur, business coach, and agropreneur driving sustainable agriculture in Africa. He is the founder and chief executive officer of Gain Business Incubator Limited, an agro-tech company pioneering inclusive farm estate systems and building what he calls an agro-tourism city. He is the lead of Mabo Brand Concept Limited, a business development firm, and previously served as the state executive director for Africa's Young Entrepreneurs. A mentor and innovator, Okpeyemi is passionate about using African solutions to solve African food and business challenges. Okpeyemi Adeyanju, you are welcome to Just Africa.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Afternoon to you. Yes, many thanks for joining us, Okpeyemi program.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very much welcome. So now let's start talking about the new gold. You know, in Africa, we bandy a whole lot of things around as the new gold, the new gold. We were told that we have the black gold sitting under the continent of Africa. Nigeria, Algeria has been identified as countries with access to enormous deposit of crude oil. Now we're talking about agriculture. And we are told that some of the cash crops and the crops found within the continent of Africa themselves refer to as gold. Do you see this statement as a tenable statement, or is loosely being made by African and African businesses?
Okay, thank you very much. I totally agree with that statement. I tell people the wealth of Africa, the wealth of Nigeria as a country is not in crude oil. We have undermined the real riches of Africa, the real riches of Nigeria as a country. It's not a crude oil, it's not even a gold, it is in agriculture. Because agriculture is a lifeline of every humanity. 80% to 90% of our industry's raw material comes from agriculture. The studio you are today, I can tell you, 90% of whatever is used in building that studio comes from agriculture, not just what we eat alone. Now let's come back to our daily feeding. The population is growing. The world is crying of hunger today. The food inflation is not only in Nigeria, it's not a Nigeria thing. It's a global issue today. And now, from China to Japan to US, every part of the world is rushing back to Africa. Why? Because we have the land, we have the soil, we have everything it takes to feed the world. There is no crop today that you pick from any part of the world that you don't have somewhere in Nigeria. Both the soil and the climate can grow that particular kind of food or seed. So today, food is essential for humanity, and we have all it takes to feed the world. So that is where the true riches of Nigeria is right now. The real gold mine of Africa, the real gold mine of Nigeria is in agriculture. From raw material to food to processing, a lot of cash crops are there that we have undermined, that we are not even cultivating at all, that we have left behind. I heard you talking about the bitter kola. How many farmer is cultivating that crop again today? I can tell you, majority of the people that are still harvesting bitter kola now are the ones that our forefathers in the 70s have planted. What are we talking about? Just last year, you are talking about bitter kola. What about ginger? What about cocoa? Cocoa from below 5 million, 4 million per ton went to about 16 to 20 million per ton in early 2024 to early 2025. At the moment, cocoa is still going for about 14 to 15 million naira per ton. A lot of other things like that we've not. What about timber? What about cotton? So we have a lot that we have undermined. We have a lot that we are not doing. The real riches, the riches of this country, the gold mine of this country is in agriculture. We are only talking about the food. What about the sea? We have not talked about the aquatic part of the agriculture. We still have other aspects. What about the animal? What about the husbandry? Today, the world is looking for milk. Do you know that we can rear a lot of cows that we can supply enough milk? Leather. What about leather? In Kano, go to Kano today. Do you know leathers that we can get from our cows? We have not even touched 70 to 80% of the crop of what we can do in agriculture. We have not touched 70% of it. Whatever we are doing right now is just about 25 to 30%.
All right, thank you very much, Okoyemi Adeyanju. Now, if you look at millet, Fonio, they're both rich in iron, amino acid, fiber. I mean, millet is actually used to manage diabetes, cholesterol, and health, digestive health. But do you think that Africa has gotten to the level where it is now realizing or truly realizing the potential in this?
Yes, I will agree with you that we have reached the level in which we have come to realize the potential of this, but we still have a major challenge. You see, where there is no one of the greatest or the biggest challenge we have today in Africa is still leadership problem. Because you see, there's this popular say, they say, after God, it is government for humanity. Because you see, our governments are our leaders, and policy goes a long way to help in tapping to the riches of this agricultural sector. A lot of people are aware of this now. We have come to realize the potentiality of what this sector can actually give to us. because we have a lot of, you were talking about the millet, the guinea corn. We have a lot of medicinal crops in this part of the world. Ginger is one of them, garlic is one of them. These crops, they are highly medicinal. Most of those organic, what do they put them that they always export, are used. They use um, most of these ginger and co to do those medicine. So what are we talking about? We are aware, but you know one thing is that agriculture is highly capital intensive to run. So it's not something that individual can actually go into and do it in a commercial level. You need investors. You need people to come in. You need people to bring in money. You need angels investors. You need a lot of money to run agriculture to a very successful level. And when there is no stable economy, when we don't have a stable economy, it 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 drives investors away because investors think differently. They look at the insecurity issue around the country. They look at unstable economy we have. Our economy is not stabilized. So we thank God for this current administration that are currently floating the naira and is somehow, at least to some extent, the naira floating is beginning to stabilize the value, the real true value of naira in the market. And that's why you can see that our stock exchange market is growing. So if we can stabilize our economy, run a very good, secured economy, investors will come in. And when investors come, it helps the private sectors to be able to drive this aspect of our economy. If you look at it, despite what we are doing in agriculture today, agriculture still contributes about 22, average 22% to the GDP of our country. Now imagine if we take most of these crops we're talking about, if we take them to the next level. And what do I mean by next level? Processing them. Like right now where I am is our processing factory part of our farm. I'm currently at the farm. This is the processing factory part of our farm where we are processing our cassava we are producing about three crops, three products rather, from our cassava. We are processing cassava to gari, we are processing cassava to powder fufu, and we are also processing cassava to flour. So if we can take our product, this crop, to the next level, processing it, not just cultivating and exporting the raw material, that is not adding enough value to our economy. Just imagine I produce cocoa, no matter the value of what we are selling our cocoa today, you can't say compare that to the chocolate that they are importing back to the country. If we can process our cocoa to the next level, take it to chocolate and other beverages and produce them here and export, that adds more value to the economy. A lot of more income both to the country, both to the government, and the private sector. We benefit more. We know all this. There's so many things we can produce from this crop. We have a lot of crops that we can, from medicine to food to raw material, and a lot more like that we can do from most of our crops. So we are realizing this, but we don't have the capacity yet. And what does it take to have this capacity to take this to the next level? We just need an enabling environment. We just need an enabling environment to do what we are doing. We just need an enabling environment. Government should give us policy that will create an.
Okpeyemi Adeyanju, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, you have said a whole lot of important things that we need to ask you questions based on some of the things, some of the most significant things that you have said, so that we do not lose other important things that we need to hear from you. You mentioned specifically that where you currently are, you are in the farm, your organization, where you process cassava to gari, to cassava flour, and you sell. First of all, you are also a business coach. So that means you set up people in business when it comes to farming, and maybe in order for them to effectively operate their SMEs. Now, please, when you produce your agro products, your clientele, are they within Nigeria only, or do you also have abroad? And when you ship abroad, truly do you earn in dollars? I want to know that. And also, if people watching you currently now and they want to go into some of this business, what's the minimum amount that they can start with in their businesses? Now, when you speak, kindly address it to whether it is going to be cassava, sorghum, millet, or other cash crops that are lucrative in production that can bring that, because agriculture has about 35% for employment in Nigeria. So please let us just know.
Okay, for us at Game Business Incubator, we have just like you said, we have both our clients both outside the country and within the country. At the moment, in fact, as of today, one of my partners is attending a training. One of our directors is attending a training organized by the Nigeria Export Council. Is currently going on at Ikeja right now in Lagos State. So what we are trying to do, like just like your question, we are not currently earning in dollar, because most of our clients over there, they are Nigerians who base abroad. They buy and ship by themselves. So they pay us in Naira. Whereas we have a huge market that if we can export ourselves down there, we can earn in dollar and actually make more money. But currently, the client base that we have, they are Nigerians who base over there, so they just buy from us and ship by themselves. So we are still earning in Nigeria. Why we are looking at moving to the next level, exporting ourselves. Therefore, the local clients, they buy, some of them have supermarkets where they package and sell directly. These crops, like I said, they are very. Some of them are lucrative. For those who are looking at coming into agriculture, yeah, there are some set of crops they can start with, which are not too technical. It doesn't need too much technicality to run it. You just have the basic knowledge, go for one or two trainings, and you can start. You can start with cultivation, or you can, because agriculture, just like you said, has about 35. For me, it's even more than 35% of our employment rate in Nigeria. It's more than 35 because the value chain of agriculture is very, very long. The value chain, any aspect of agriculture you are going to, either you are going for crop, or you are going for fishery, or you are going for animal husbandry, or you are going for cash crop. You know, under the crop we have the perennial crop and we have the cash crop, and we have the what do you call it? We have other aspects of it as well. So any aspect you are going into, you can decide to take 2, 3 parts of the value chain. If you are going for crop farming, just like what we do, let me give our company as an example now. We are doing about 4 aspects of the value chain, from managing farm estates for our clients, our partners, because people can buy farmland within our farm estate and we help you to manage your farm. That's one aspect of it. You buy the farmland, value chain starts from the farmland. we manage for you. That's the second aspect. We process, which is the factory I am right now. We process two major of our crops. We process the cassava and the corn. We also do maize in large quantity. We also have other crops we do, but for the commercial aspect, we have three major crops. But I'll mention two here: the maize and cassava. So we process the maize and we process the cassava as well from here. Then from the process, we take it to the third level, which is the fourth part of it, which is we have our own store, food hub in Lagos, where we sell this, and we also supply those who use it for raw material to reproduce other products. Like another set of our customer base are poultry farmers. They buy our corn, they want the dry that we have processed, remove the cob and only the grains, package the grains. They buy it in large quantity from here and process it to animal feed mill. So these we have different categories of our clients like that. So the agricultural sector is lucrative, but for anybody that is starting, I tell people knowledge is very key because for every industry has its own risk as and has its benefit. And as a business within a business, getting to know the business within the business is tapping into the value chain of your sector. Because if you focus only on one aspect of the value chain, you might not be running your business at a profit level. So you have to understand what are the business within the business of that particular sector or subsector of the agriculture I'm going into. Then understand that, pick it one after the other, and understand that agriculture is a long-term business. It's not a short-term business. I tell people it's not an MMM kind of business that you come into the business and you believe in the next 3 months, 4 months, 5 months you're already making huge profits and runs like no, it doesn't work like that. It's capital intensive, but you can start small. You can start in your own small way. Whatsoever amount you are coming in, you can start with it. Some people can start with a plot, some people can start with acres, and some people can start with acres, depending on your capacity. But you can start small and begin to grow it. It's a long-term business and it requires huge capital. So with time, you need to plow in those capital, those profits you are making, and move on like that.
You kept mentioning huge capital. How much is the minimum? How much is the minimum?
Oh, you can't really say this is a minimum for agri sector. It depends on.
For cash crops?
Okay. Let's say for cash crop, I advise people. Okay, the minimum you can start with cash crop. Look at least a minimum of 2 acres of land because cash crop is not like the perennial crop that you.
Yes, 2 acres of land, but what about money? Like liquidity, like 2 million, 3 million, 5 million after having the 2 acres of land?
Yeah, you know why I don't want to put a particular amount today. It depends on location. Some location that 2 acres alone can run to 5 million. Some location that same 2 acre can be in 500,000 naira, depending. So I don't want to say total amount because it depends on location where you are getting your land. You can't do cash crop and rent land because it's a long-term business. Cash crop, you once you plant, you start harvesting after 3, 4 years, and you can harvest like that for the next 30 years. So you can't rent that kind of land. You have to acquire it. So if I'm giving you a specific amount to start with, it might not work. It depends on your location. But if you are coming to like, let me give example. Okay, maybe let me use example. If you are coming to like my location in Ogun State, where our farm is located, you can start with a minimum of about 3 million for 2 acres. By the time you buy, at least 3 million in our kind of location. But in some other location, you might not need up to that. And in some other location, you might need more than that. So depending on location, that you are working with. Then another factor that will determine the amount of money you are starting with is the kind of model you want to run. Are you running it yourself, or you are going to employ somebody to manage the farm on your behalf? All these factors will determine the amount of money you are putting into your farm. So I might not be able to pin down that this is the actual or lowest or highest amount that you can start with.
Thank you so much, Okpayemi Adeonju. Now, let's go on a break. So we'll take a breather here. By the time we return from the break, our conversation will continue to other very, very important and productive aspects of the agropreneur business. Thank you so much. Do stay with us. Just Africa will be back in a moment.
Because of my everyday cup of coffee. You may not be a lover of coffee like me, but I want to believe that you would like to make money from cocoa if you have your way around it, isn't it? This is Cashcraft, where we share with you insights on how to make money out of different business ideas. You might already know, but feel uninterested. You might even not be aware and just feel lost in the crowd trying to find what best suits you. Whether you know or not, it can only get better when you are open to more knowledge and great ideas. My name is Grace Komolafe, and I want you to join me as I spy into the cocoa business. No hypes, just what works. Everybody knows cocoa, but not everyone knows the many things it's used for. When you hear cocoa, your mind jumps straight to the chocolate, sweet, dark, rich chocolate. But cocoa is far more than a one-trick bean. Cocoa comes from the cocoa tree, Theobroma cacao, but the part used for cocoa and all the other products is the bean, which grows inside the tree's pod. The cocoa tree produces large, colorful pods. Inside each pod are 20 to 50 cocoa beans surrounded by sweet pod. The beans are the real stars. They are fermented, dried, roasted, and processed to produce cocoa solids, cocoa butter, and chocolates. Cocoa is rich in fat. Beyond chocolates, it is used for food and beverage, beauty and skincare, pharmaceuticals, agriculture and industry, health and wellness. Now, let's talk business. Starting a cocoa farming business can be rewarding, especially in tropical regions where the crop thrives. Here are key tips to help you begin. 1. You need to understand the crop. Cocoa grows best in humid tropical climates like West Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia. It needs plenty of rainfall, shade, and rich, well-drained soil. And it starts yielding from 3 to 5 years after planting. 2. Get training or mentorship. Learning from experienced cocoa farmers or attending agricultural workshops can help a great deal. Likewise, understanding the life cycle, such as nursery period to transplanting, maintenance, harvesting, drying and fermenting remains very important. Usually, cocoa trees begin their journey in a nursery where seeds from high-yielding varieties are planted in fiber pods or plastic bags. These seedlings grow quickly, and in just a few months, they are ready to be transplanted to the main farm. 3. Choose the right variety. Select high-yield and disease-resistant cocoa varieties like CRI series from Ghana or Amazonia and Trinitario hybrids. Number 4. Secure land. Choose land in a cocoa-friendly zone. Test the soil to ensure it's fertile and free from waterlogging. 5. Set up a nursery. Germinate seeds in polybags or trays for 3 to 4 months before transplanting. Alternatively, buy seedlings from a certified nursery. 6. Land preparation and planting. Clear the land and provide shade. Cocoa doesn't like direct sunlight. Space your cocoa trees 3 times 3 meters apart. Include shade trees like banana or plantain in the early years. We move to 7. Now regular maintenance. Weeding, pruning, mulching, and pest disease control are crucial. So apply manure or fertilizer as needed. Number 8 tips you need to know is harvest and post-harvest handling. Cocoa pods are ready when they turn yellow or orange. Harvest with care. Don't damage the tree. Ferment beans 5 to 7 days and dry them thoroughly for quality. And now it's time to make the cash. The number 9 tips is to market and sell. Connect with local cocoa buyers, processors, or cooperatives. Remember that quality beans fetch better prices. Hence, focus on good fermentation and drying. Lastly, I bring you the number 10 tip. Think long term. Cocoa is a long-term investment, so be ready for it. No complaints or over-agitation. Consider forming or joining a farmer cooperative for support and better access to resources. May I add that to begin a cocoa farming business, it is important to establish a comprehensive business plan. This plan should encompass key aspects such as the business description, product offerings, organizational structure, marketing strategies, competitive analysis, operational procedures, and financial details. These elements are crucial for laying a solid foundation to successfully launch and grow your cocoa farming venture. Kindly do a very detailed research to support the tips I just shared with you, so when you get in, you can come out with encouraging profits. Note, this is not a professional guide. It is just a heads up, a way to call your attention or pull you out of the lost crowd so you can begin to think differently and think business. Until I see you again, I am Grace Komalafe signing out on Cashcraft.
Very much welcome. Many thanks for joining us on Just Africa. We are having a conversation with Okpeyemi Adeyanju, a dynamic serial entrepreneur, business coach, and agropreneur. Welcome once again to the program, Mr. Adeyanju, and many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
All right. Okpeyemi Adeyanju, let's look into the global markets now. You said earlier on that you have international clients who come, they buy these things from you in Naira and they ship it out. So basically they serve as probably the middleman to the global market. So do you think of how will I put it, removing the middleman this time around? I mean, if you look at China, China is saying bring in your stuffs, to the less developed countries, bring in your stuff at zero duty free. So are you looking into that market? Are you looking to tapping into that market, China? Because whether we like it or not, Priya and I have discussed so many times how China sometimes even in exports gari and bring it back to Nigeria, gari that we have here, cassava that we have here. So are you looking into tapping into the Chinese market? Then secondly, in your line of thought, you said people need to know the business inside the business. So I would like to ask, do you think there should be any formal or informal education when going into agriculture? Because most of the times people just go into it without any formal education.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I would like to start with the second question first. I've always said, and one of my major agitation and contribution towards business development is education gap, or what will I call it? Yeah, information gap. there is no business. If you really want to run a business or you want to be successful in any business, that you won't need to educate yourself, train yourself, and build some level of capacity before running into that business. First of all, for us, we are first of all a business development company, and we transfer that knowledge that we know, that we knew, that we have built over the years when we diversify into agriculture. We diversified into agriculture in the COVID year itself, which was 2020. That was the year we diversified into agriculture. But before then, 2 years before then, myself and some of my partners, we have been taking trainings, going for trainings, building our capacity, learning about this sector, getting to build our knowledge. Because we are a business development company, and what we teach people, we have to also put it into whatsoever we are going into. So we took about 2 years to train ourselves in agriculture. And aside from that, when we started in that COVID year 2020, we still need to bring somebody, an expert who has over a decade years experience in agriculture. We need to bring him into the team, and he's still part of the team to today. Because there are some things that no matter the amount of training we've taken, no matter even if we like go to Harvard Business School, there are something when you get to the real field that you will experience that you are not taught in the classroom. So we need to bring a partner who has that years of experience to guide us and to be part of the team. And aside from that, we have mentors who have over 20, 30 years experience in the field as well, that became part of our team, and they serve as mentor to us to guide us. So what am I trying to say in essence is that if you are coming to this industry, don't just jump in. Because if you jump in, you will definitely jump out. You're going to burn your fingers. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. Because agri, even despite that we still have this, we have that, we still have some time that we pay seriously for some little errors that our workers, our workforce will just commit on the field. So that's how delicate agri-business is. So you have to take that training, very, very essential. Take your time. Like I said, it's a long-term business. So you don't even need to rush. If you know that you don't have that enough time, get a partner who you know that has this experience, passion, and ready to run the vision with you. That is on that aspect. So don't just jump into it. Get enough education, train yourself, build your capacity before you know it, and have a long-term mentality as you are coming in. It's not a short-term business. Have that mindset that you are going into a long-term business, and it is capital intensive, like I used to say. So you start small and grow. Now back to the first question. Yes, for every business that is growing, that is scaling gradually, needs to begin to look outside global, so into the global world, which is currently what we are building ourselves and preparing ourselves to go into. And that was why we are one of the organizations that was invited for the Nigeria Export Council training that is currently ongoing. The training wasn't for like everybody. I think some identified agri business companies were identified and invited for this training, and which our company was one of it. So we are going into that aspect, looking at other countries, even beyond China, because yeah, there is a lot of opportunity in China right now to export, especially when it comes to the agri sector, the food sector, to export your food to China. In fact, they themselves are coming into Nigeria and they are establishing farms in Nigeria at the moment. I know a lot of Chinese farms in this Ogun state that are owned by Chinese companies, farms and it's not in hundreds of acres. We are talking about hectares of land, running to 500, 1,000 hectares of land owned by this Chinese company, cultivating and exporting. They are not even selling in Nigeria, they're not processing, they are just cultivating and exporting to their country. So that shows the huge opportunity over there, which we are also looking at, and other countries as well that we can tap into, and we are preparing for that, and we are going into that very soon by God's grace.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, one thing I would like to ask is how some of the challenges that your organization or Nigerian farmers have encountered that they will need government intervention or policy framework that to help them solve so that it will help their businesses to run smoothly. What are these challenges?
Yeah, in the agri sector, we have a lot of challenges, and we believe that gradually these challenges will be taken care of one after the other. But for me, I will focus on three major aspects first. Every other aspect can come in. The first of all, the first challenge I felt, in my own opinion, that government should first of all tackle is insecurity. Insecurity is one of the major challenges that is actually driving people away from the sector. Because agriculture is done in the rural area, it's not in the urban settlement. It's in the rural area where we have a lot of forests, where these kidnappers and whatever they call themselves, bandits and all of that, can easily hide. So it is scaring people, and people are being afraid of coming into this sector because of that. And it is practically shown. If you go to the middle belt, the middle central north of Nigeria, and some parts of the corner, all these insurgency, bandits, and all of them has driven a lot of people out of the farm. And that is why we are.
Sorry, Mr. Premier DNG, do you know of any investor that either within Ogun State or outside Ogun State whom have had experiences like this that you know that have been driven away from their farms through insecurity and how such persons can be reached? So you can name some of those instances if there are any experience, or maybe your organization have had any such experience too.
Okay, for us at Ogun State, I think Ogun State has not really experienced much insecurity. So when we talk about that, that's why I'm taking it one. I'm just looking at the major aspect, which is a major, as in something that is universal, that is something such has to do with majority in a lot of places in Nigeria. But for Ogun State, I can only remember early 2021, during the COVID 2021. Those are the times that we have some experience of insecurity in some part of the Ogun State. Not even in this our environment. This environment, so far so good. We've been here for like over 5 years. We've not really had any issue of insecurity. I have to be factual about that. In this part of Ogun State, I have not experienced any. By God's grace, we've been going into our farm and coming out, going in and coming out, and it has been a smooth journey so far. Although the community has they have their own responsibility, they played to help this insecurity issue in this area, to have a secured farming environment. They have their own vigilantes, they cooperate from one village to other. They have a way they communicate when any issue or any they sense anything or somebody gave out information. They quickly come. The vigilante comes out. They have a way they communicate with each other, and before you know it, from every villages around, they come out and things are done. rightly, and they have some rules. Everyone, because they discovered that one of the things that have caused issue with insecurity is this cattle herdsmen and all of that. So anyone that wants to do cattle rearing in this environment must have a ranch. So only those that have ranches around here that are allowed to go to take their cattle for grazing and come back. So you know you have a limitation to where you can get to. You can't go into people's farm. If you do that, they can easily identify which farmers' cattle comes to that particular place, and you pay for such damages. So we've not had those kind of issues. So when externals are coming, they know, and they quickly drive them back that you are not allowed in this environment to graze. So I think some of these have solved this issue of insecurity in this environment. Though, you know, in the other parts, those are major challenges that we have. Then the second challenge I want to identify is rural development, infrastructural facility in the rural environment. If government can come up with rural development policy that will focus on developing our rural areas, it will go a long way to help driving these sectors. If you go to majority of our rural environment, the roads are bad. During rainy season, you can hardly drive your truck or whatsoever you are driving into the farm to bring out your crops. 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 2023 precisely, I want to share this experience. In one of our farm estates, while that 2023, we have a very heavy rainfall in 2023, and it was consistent. There wasn't this August break that we're having in the last 2 years now. It wasn't, for 2023, it wasn't like that. It was a consistent rainy season. Then at a point, I looked at the way the rain was falling, and I told my partner and our farm manager that the way this rain is going, by the time we'll be harvesting, we won't be able to take these crops out. The roads will be very, very bad and flooded. They're like, no, you can't. Before then, August break will come. Because one of the things you have to have as a leader and as an agripreneur is you have to be very proactive. You have to be able to see ahead. So I told them, this rain I'm seeing, something has to be done ahead. They were saying no, but for me, I took the right step. That year, we bought an auxiliary tricycle that can move on any kind of land. It has an auxiliary that you can use. So I have to invest on that particular tricycle. And lo and behold, by July, when we start harvesting, we couldn't, no car, no truck, no anything you are bringing can't enter that road. Everybody was parking, and a lot of people have to even start leasing our own tricycle to bring out their crops. If I have not invested in that crop, that would have, in fact, most of our crop would have damaged. And that is part of the reason why we are having a lot of post-harvest loss. We are having about 40% post-harvest loss in Nigeria. Because the perishable crops, once they can't get to the market, the same day, within 1 to 2 days, it's not destroyed. So rural area development is very, very essential. And the third part is still under almost the same, but is about.
Hello, Mr. Deoju. Just a moment. Let's quickly go on another break. We'll be back shortly. Do stay with us.
Welcome to Cashcraft, where opportunities meet insight. Today, we're journeying into the field of prosperity where towering oil palms wave not just leaves, but the promise of wealth. From the humid groves of Edo to the rich red earth of Delta, A quiet boom is unfolding, though has been there for many years, but we could take advantage of this. This is one opportunity that holds the key to food security, foreign exchange savings, and thousands of jobs. Yes, we're talking about palm oil, Africa's red gold. But how do you tap into this opportunity? What does it take to build a business around palm oil, from plantation to profit? Let's break it down, step by step. 1. Understand the landscape. The first step is knowledge. Nigeria's oil palm production has risen by over 41% in the past decades, from 8.2 million metric tons in 2014 to 11.6 million in 2023, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization. Yet, with over 200 million mouths to feed and rising global demand, we are still importing palm oil to close the gap. That's your opportunity to become a local producer or processor. Step 2. Choose your entry point. There are 3 main ways to enter into the palm oil value chain. Palm plantation farming. Cultivating your own palm trees is long-term but rewarding. Now you can look at processing. Buying palm fruit, popularly known as banga, I'm sure you know that, and converting it into oil with machines. That's another one. And trading. You can buy and sell finished oil in local or export markets. Each has different startup costs and time frames, so you must match your capital, patience, and passion. Before I go further, remember that this is not a professional guide, rather a wake-up call that there are opportunities everywhere. Now let's go to step 3. Get land or source supply. According to research, some initiatives like the Edo Oil Palm Development Program, EOPDP, and Delta State Delcom scheme are making access to land to become easier. Findings shows that in Edo State, over 114,000 hectares have been allocated to both big and small investors, and over 65,000 hectares have already been accessed. In Delta, 130,000 hectares.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. Okpeyemi Adeyanju is our guest today, and he's talking to us about some of the crops and how diverse agriculture is in the continent of Africa and in Nigeria. Okpeyemi, thank you so much for your time with us. We really appreciate this moment you're spending with us. Now, as we are close to the end of our program, you were talking about the challenges that we face, and you were giving us the second challenge you wanted us to hear, and that's about having good roads that will connect the rural areas to the urban centers. Please continue with your line of thought.
Okay, thank you very much. So like I was saying, another aspect of the challenges we are having in agriculture is investment in agriculture. Most of the, I can tell you that 70 to 75% of smallholder farmers in Nigeria today are still heavily relying on rain and the local equipment, which is popularly known as the cutlass and hoes. But right now, if we want to solve the problem of hunger in Nigeria, we have to go further than that. We have to employ technology into agriculture and going mechanized, doing mechanized farming. Most of the farmers today are still relying on rain, while we can farm all year round. This is technology age. We are not in those age where we are using cutlass and hoes to farm again. There's a lot of equipment that are available right now to make the job of a farmer easier, effective, efficient, and result-oriented. So I think government should invest heavily on agricultural equipment and implements. Make it available in every local government of every state, and make it available to these smallholder farmers at a subsidized rate. If smallholder farmers can have access to this equipment, to these machineries like tractors and the implements that comes with tractors. We have other high-tech equipment like drones. Then we have the irrigation tools and all of that. If government can make the ones that are leasable, they can make it available in this local government, and farmer goes for it at a very affordable rate, it will go a long way to solve this hunger problem in Nigeria, the food inflation challenges we have, and because these equipment are highly expensive, that's why a lot of people are also drawing back from agriculture. And our youth are also drawing back from agriculture because they can't see themselves using all these old model tools in the farms, stressing themselves. But if we can adopt technology, these equipment are available. It will make agriculture farming more attractive to the youth, and we can get more results. Also, for those equipment that are not leasable, government can subsidize them. For those who are ready to buy, make it available, buy, let the farmers go to get them. We still have lower equipment that are not too high tech, but can still make farmers work effectively and efficiently. So if government can invest in this area, make this equipment available, make it affordable for farmers, it will go a long way to solve the food inflation and hunger challenges we have. I think this major thing. Then the last one, creating more enabling policy to make private sector to come into agriculture, to make investors comes in more into agriculture and partner with these private sectors like our own companies, and we can do more together.
All right, lastly, Okpeyemi Adeyanju, two questions. If you can roll it up in 1 minute, I'll really appreciate it. The first one, I know you've mentioned it before, but let's have a recap of it. For those watching now and want to, and they feel like, hey, I want in, what is the entry point? How much capital is needed? What are the risks and returns? Second question, there's a growing concern that wealthy investors may own the land, leaving local farmers left behind. So how can we ensure inclusion and shared prosperity within the host community?
Yeah, I think we should go back to the era where we have this agricultural cluster environment, where government have policies that guide our land, that secure some land strictly for agriculture and owned by government. Because if you could remember, I know that there are some areas in Lagos State, like Ikorodu and Epe axis, that are strictly for agriculture in those days. But as modernization and rural-urban settlement migration is increasing, those places have turned to commercial housing environments. In fact, some industrial areas have been converted to housing environment. So we need to go back to when government reassign some land. I can remember we started farming with such land in Ogun State. There was a particular area in Shagam settlement that government agricultural land. And this land was leased to us when we started in 2020. We lease this land, and those lands are purely for agriculture. If we can have more of that, so that people, the rich, will not acquire all this land and leave these farmers with low income behind, that can settle that and balance the equation. Then, for capital that you can be looking into, get into agriculture, it depends on area. If you are going for, you can start. I always encourage people, if you are coming, start with some low technical crops like maize, cassava. They are not too highly expensive to run. With '1 million, you can start a maize farm of 1 acre of land. You acquire the land, you do your cultivation and all of that in some rural environment. So, but if you know you have a long-term plan and you don't really have too much of time for the perennial crop, you must have time for it. You must visit the farm from time to time. But for those who might not really have the time, luxurious time to be coming to farm from time to time, I will advise them to go into cash crop. Because once you set up your cash crop farm and everything is well done from land preparation to transplanting of your seed to the farm, you can just have somebody there who help you to manage the farm, and you come in once a while, maybe once in a month, once in 2 months, and ensure that the boundary of that cash crop is clear and not prone to fire. That's another thing about cash crop. So once you're able to put that in place, you are good to go. And if you are looking into cash crop, you should be looking between 3 to 5 million naira to start with.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Okpeyemi Adeoju, a dynamic serial entrepreneur, business coach, and agropreneur driving sustainable agriculture in Africa. He is the founder and the CEO of Gain Business Incubator Limited, and agrotech company pioneering inclusive farm estate settlements. Thank you so much for your time with us today on Just Africa. We really appreciate you joining us on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's
Impriye and Olumide. Thank you.
Yes.
I really had I like the fact that he is hands-on person who is currently on ground, not just doing the business, but also more like a consultant to others who are nursing the ambition of coming into that industry to come and establish themselves and drive productivity.
I liked how he was able to really simplify it, talking about how much needed, 2 to 3 million. And have a farm, and some of the specifics he gave. Make sure your farm is not prone to fire, the boundaries, everything. You have to ensure this. And he says from his own explanation, it requires less supervision. You come in once a week or probably twice in a month, but have people on ground. That means you have to have trusted people on ground who are there hands-on. Then you can come in, and you can even install CCTV cameras and all that. So I like all that. And one of the interesting things is, if you look at millet, it's often regarded to as the poor man's crop, but in US, Asia, and Europe,
it's in high need.
It's in high need because it's used for gluten-free. It is used for to reduce cholesterol. It's used to fight cholesterol.
In fact, I have some
it
of them,
has so many benefits. Diabetes. That's the millet we are looking at. Because yes, it is well processed there. It goes into manufacture. It goes into a whole lot, which we can actually start here. But we also need, it's capital intensive. I mean, if you look at the equipment involved and even the skill, you need hands-on people. And I like the fact that he said that before he went into this agribusiness, it took out 2 years. Him and his friend, they did courses. I like the fact that he had to really give us the reality of things. It's not so that people listening can actually know that yes, you can actually gain formal education
before undertaking an venture in agriculture.
Yes,
yes, for calling out some of the benefits of the crops. You just mentioned millet. By the way, we are going to space with that. I hope you've not forgotten.
Yes.
So sorghum bicolor is industrial benefit and uses contains food processing. It's made in flour, porridge, cereal bars, and baby food. The brewery industry needs it. It's used in beer production across Africa. It's also used in animal feed and widely used in livestock rations. Biofuel production, that means it's emerging use for ethanol production due to its high starch content. That's in sorghum. I have for millet, I have for Bambara granite, I have for Vigna subterranea, Africa oil palm, I have for moringa, tiger nut, amaranth, to mention all the uses of this, this crop and agricultural produce. Our time will not afford us again for us to go into details concerning all these crops. And this is where we draw the curtain in Just Africa. Many thanks for watching. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Souq News TV. I am Oyin Priye Krumale until we'll come your way again tomorrow, which is going to be the weekend. Thank God it's Friday. Do have yourself a splendid day ahead.
And I am Olumide Shokoya. Enjoy the rest of your day and keep watching Souq News Television.